For the second day in a row, President Biden is in the European Union, and not just anywhere but 100 kilometers from the closest point to Ukraine, the city of Rzeszów, Poland. Here, President Biden chaired a meeting on a humanitarian situation in Ukraine. President of Poland Andrzej Duda was also present, as well as Secretary of State Antony Blinken. USAID Administrator Samantha Power was also with them. Question on the agenda is one: how to help Ukrainians who find themselves in Poland now to survive this time. I think not just survive, but to feel like human beings. There will be help. The Americans are not leaving either Poland or Ukraine in this difficult situation, and they promise that the hand of this help will be felt by everyone, each and every person who travels from Ukraine to the territory of the European Union.
Our focus, of course, is to channel as many resources as we can into the country, particularly in a manner that allows Ukraine's own distribution networks to pick up the aid and get it to the people most in need. And the UN now is in a position where it has reached, I think, more than 700,000 people, with everything from cash assistance to food assistance, but we know it is nowhere near enough. And we also know very specifically that Russia's tactics of encircling cities where civilians are living and bombarding them creates real access issues for the humanitarian groups that we fund. And so that really is our biggest challenge, is how is there enough pressure exerted on the Russian Federation, where in places like Mariupol or Chernihiv or Kyiv itself, even parts of Kyiv, where that access is provided and civilians are able to get out and food is able to get in.
I'm originally from the Donbas region, and now we live in this second time where we are located from Donetsk and then continue our life in Kyiv city, and now we relocate from Kyiv to Uzhhorod. So it's very dramatic situation for all of us, but the most dramatic situation for people who live in Mariupol now, and we know about the position of Russian Federation blocked our humanitarian aid from Kyiv, from Ukraine, for these average people. So how you can impact, influence for them, and how to give these people who live in Mariupol something like hope to get food and water now.
Yes. I've spent a lot of time on the phone today with various humanitarian organizations who are perched and ready to put food into the town. And not just food, as you know, medicines have run short, water is inaccessible in many parts of the city. But again, as you said, the challenge has been that while the Ukrainian government has been very, very eager to create safe passage and to have a ceasefire in order for food and supplies to get in, the Russian Federation has shown that it wants to approach Mariupol as it once, with the Syrian government, approached Aleppo. And that is all we have seen from them, despite countless promises. There have been heartbreaking scenes of Ukrainians in Mariupol being told that humanitarian pauses were going to occur, showing up, often with elderly, with children. As a mother, I can't even imagine showing up, and then the shelling starts, almost like it was never serious at all. And so you asked how I could give the people hope. All I can tell the people of Mariupol is that we are working around the clock to try to muster as much diplomatic pressure on the Russian Federation as possible, so that Putin feels he has to let food and medicine into innocent people. And obviously the United States and the European Union countries, along with Japan and Australia and democracies around the world, are imposing very steep costs on the Russian Federation's economy and on President Putin and his cronies. So we need China, we need Beijing, we need India, we need countries that have maintained friendly ties or neutral ties with the Russian Federation to be raising their voices on behalf of this urgent, desperate humanitarian need. And we will be ready. The humanitarian groups are ready. USAID has supported them in scaling up their assistance. They are ready to go. There is one thing that stands in the way, and that is President Duda.
Унікальний момент.
A unique moment. President Joe Biden and President Andrzej Duda are 100 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. Here, at the local airport in Rzeszów, they are holding an emergency event to provide humanitarian aid to anyone and everyone in need who comes from the territory of Ukraine. Duda thanks Biden for supporting the refugees, and Biden thanks Duda for opening the borders to all those who need help and protection from Vladimir Putin in the civilized world today.
As been pointed out, 10 million people have been displaced thus far. 3.8 million people to other countries, including more than 1 million children. And according to the UN, there are thousands of civilian casualties. 12 million in need of assistance. But hundreds of thousands of people who are being cut off from help by Russian forces and are besieged in places like Mariupol. I mean, it's not stopping. It's like something out of a science fiction movie. You turn on the television and see what these towns look like in cities. I want to thank each one of you and your organizations, excuse me.
Весь день я провел сегодня в аэропорту.
Spent all day today at Rzeszów airport with Presidents Biden and Duda, and of course the only person missing here was Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who is actually not far from here in the city of Kyiv, where he conducts the defense of the whole country. But in the spirit of what was going on here, there was an atmosphere of friendship and struggle for peace not only in Ukraine, but in our whole Eastern European region. From Poland, Oleksiy Matsuka for UATV.